down. We the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. We are in the playoffs for the USFL. 2 more weeks to go. We have divisional championships this weekend and then the second USFL championship coming up. We had a couple of surprises last week that we didn't expect, particularly in the north. And I'm curious to hear your takes on a lot of these things. First of all, how are you doing?
Well, it's tough to say who I'm better than right now because a lot of these losses were heartbreaking losses, but I'm going to go with the Showboats for right now, only because they were probably in the best position out of all the teams that lost this past week, even though they knew going into that game they were going to have to blow out the Stallions to actually make it to the playoffs by that point, and it probably wasn't going to happen. However, the thing between Skip Holtz and Todd Haley got a little out of control, and Skip Holtz said, okay, I'll leave my starters in the entire game. You're not only not going to blow us out, you're not going to win the game at all. So it ended up being kind of tragic for the Showboats, and here we are with the most dominant team ever in the USFL, at least in the reboot era, making it to the playoffs, and the Showboats are completely out.
Making it back once again, which is a repeat from last season. Whereas in the north, we have 2 different teams. Last season, it was the Generals and the Stars. This time, the Panthers and the Maulers. So every team in the north at this point has made the playoffs.
Yeah.
At one point, which is interesting. In the south, nothing new. As I would have been able to tell you before the season, it was expectedly, but some people didn't want to believe it, thinking the Stallions couldn't get it done with injuries. Still the best team in the league. But we have 2 games to pick before that. How did our regular season wrap up?
Well, not bad. Obviously, last week we picked the same games as we had, I think, for the past 2 weeks. Yes. And I couldn't make any points on you. However, as far as our goal of getting to 75% on the season, you made it. You actually got 1 pick over there. With the 3 picks you got right last week, that took you to 31 points on the season. With my 3 picks, that only took me to 29. So I missed the mark by 1 pick, which is pretty devastating right now. But I do plan to make that up during the playoffs right here.
Okay. 2 points. Make up 2 points in 3 games. Okay.
You have to pick different than me, obviously.
Yeah, if you want to, I can pick these games first. I can go first if you want.
You can. I do have my winners picked out here, so I'm gonna let you go first. I don't think I will change them. Maybe I will. Let's see what you got.
Okay. I'll go first. I'll go first on both. I'm gonna even let you pick where we're starting. Starting in the north or the south?
Well, let's go ahead and start with the South, because that'll make my next pick even easier, depending on what you do.
I think you know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick the best team in the league. I'm going to pick the MVP of the league, and I'm going to pick the team that has been doubted and put at number 2 of the power rankings and written off with the injuries. Like, they can't repeat, they can't go back. I'm going to pick that team to go back. So I'm taking the Stallions to win the South once again. I will say the Breakers are the team that I least want to see here. I'd much rather play the Gamblers. I'd much rather play the Showboats also, because I'm very confident that we can blow both of those teams out of the water. The Breakers, those have been 2 very tough, hard-fought games, and they split them 1-1 in the regular season. So this is going to be quite an even matchup, but I'm going with the MVP, the best quarterback, best player in the league, and the Stallions, the best team in the league, to get it done, repeat in front of their home audience, which I'm expecting to be a pretty ruckus crowd at this point, because this is the biggest fan base in the league, playing in Birmingham, and it's playoff season. I'm saying the Stallions get it done, and they repeat as champions of the South.
Wow, man, do I want to go against that right now? That's the question, because I do believe the Stallions are the best team overall in the entire league, so obviously they're better than the Breakers right now. Breakers obviously are the second best team in the South, and obviously the second best team in the entire USFL. Looking at this, I'm going to break it down real quick here, side by side at positions, and see if I think the Breakers can win. Do I like McLeod Bethel-Thompson over Alex McGough? No, I'm giving a tick to Alex McGough. Do I like Wes Hills over CJ Marable? Yes, I do. I'm going to give a tick to the Breakers on that one. What about the wide receiver position? Davion Davis, Deion Kane, those guys over Johnny Dixon and the rest. I'm actually going to give that to Johnny Dixon, the former Ohio State Buckeyes.
Are you including tight ends into that? Because if you're including tight ends, you have to give that to
tight ends separately. Sage Surratt is a phenomenal tight end, no doubt about it. But you have the combination of Jay Sternberger, LaMichael Pettaway, and Thaddeus Moss. That is phenomenal. That's 3 of the best tight ends in the entire league on one team. I have to give that to the Stallions. And looking at the defense here, overall, the defense for the Stallions have been better. I mean, Rashad Smith is actually in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, I'm sure, at this point, especially with Scooby Wright being out. And that's another point. Scooby Wright was supposed to be back last week, and he did not play. I guess they just figured we've got it wrapped up. We're heading into the playoffs. Might as well bring Scooby Wright back for the playoffs. I'm giving the defense to the Stallions. I am not going to go against you at this point. I can't take the Breakers here. I know it's they have come closest to beating you guys through the season, and they did beat you once. But I think the Stallions, at this point in time, are peaking for the entire season. They are better right now. I'm not going to waste a point here. I'm just going to hope you pick opposite of me later. I'll take the Stallions at home.
I'm glad we agree on that one, and that is the important one. That is the big one. When is the USFL honors thing happening? By the way, when do we get the all league team announced and the MVP? I'm wondering when does that happen?
I will have to.
Is there anything out on that? Yeah, I do not want to miss. I do not want to miss that.
Yeah.
Oh, it just announced today. They actually did it today.
Okay.
Just before we started.
Not seeing a headline for it yet.
Do you want to look through it? I can go through it if you want.
Yeah.
You have the offense here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll let you guess. Quarterback.
Oh, Alex McGough. I don't
That's
think
right.
there's any competition.
That is right. 2 running backs.
2 running backs. Wes Hills and Mark Thompson.
That's right. 2 receivers.
Oh man, I hope Trey Quinn's in it. Johnny Dixon, Trey Quinn.
I gave it to Corey Coleman and Justin Hall.
Oh, Corey Coleman's a good pick.
Yeah. There's a Philadelphia star though, and tight end.
Yeah. Tight end is obviously Sternberger.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then offensive line, like we can kind of disregard that one.
Yeah.
Just looking over the defense, nothing really too noteworthy there. Breland Speaks, obviously. No, not Reuben Foster. Though 3 Pittsburgh Maulers. They put Tizino in there instead as a linebacker for the Maulers, because Foster's missed some time here and there with injuries, right? And Tizino stepped up as probably the best linebacker on that team. Yeah.
What about Frank Ginder?
Frank Ginder's in there as a linebacker.
Yeah,
he's in there as well. Yeah. Not a single Birmingham Stallion.
No, not Rashad Smith. Wow.
Nope, not a Stallion on the defense.
Wow, that's amazing, actually.
Yeah. Both punt and kick returners by the Maulers, unsurprisingly. Luis Aguilar. Yeah. Luis Aguilar is the place kicker. That's right.
I can't argue.
That is
argue too much. I probably should have put Corey Coleman in there, but I would rather have Johnny Dixon or Trey Quinn as my second wide receiver there. But other than that,
fair.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
That is fair. I'm okay with it because the for the Stallions, they've lived by their offense so much this year. Defense has been fine; they've been solid, but the standout players certainly on Pittsburgh and on Michigan for the most part. And I mean, those teams did make the playoffs in the North after all, and their offenses have historically been not very good at all and extremely inconsistent. So the credit has to go to the special teams units and the defenses for both of those teams, both those franchises to make it to the playoffs after all. So those awards, well deserved. All I care about Alex Magoo is the quarterback, and hopefully also officially the MVP whenever that gets announced. Can't wait for that to happen. And then, wonder if he goes to the NFL, but that's a story for another day. Let's talk about this other game here. We have the Northern Championship, the battle of the underdogs. I don't know. There's only underdogs in the North.
Yeah.
But somehow both the Panthers and the Maulers snuck into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Wow. Coming off of last year, the Generals went 9-1, and the Stars went to the USFL Championship, and somehow both of them did manage to return to the playoffs in an incredibly weak division. And we have the Maulers and the Panthers. And I'm going to go first in this one as well. And I'm going to make the fun pick. I'm going to take the Panthers. And I know this will warrant a little bit of explanation here. They brought in EJ Perry to beat the Stars, and basically no one believed in it at all. He came out of his first drive, and the announcers were already basically crowning the Stars as champions of the North. They're saying this guy hasn't taken a snap, and he's already down 7-0, and they're asking him to essentially win a playoff game, which that game was against the Stars. Just win and you're in. And they were basically writing him off. And then he kind of pulled it off at that rushing touchdown. Definitely struggled a little bit. I think he fumbled 3 snaps that game, 3 or 4 snaps, which led to some really, really problematic plays, and that can be fatal mistakes, but they were able to capitalize in the end. And of course, one thing that both of us, you and me, thought immediately when this matchup came through was that we knew it was the Panthers and the Maulers is special teams.
Yeah.
This is all special teams. Return game. That's what kept the Maulers alive throughout the whole season. That obviously that blocked punt by the Panthers that got them here to begin with, because the offense didn't really produce as much as they needed to. And Case Cocos, by the way, played a great game. Stars ended the season the way they begun it at the very start, with the quarterback being let down by the rest of the team, and getting a punt blocked for a touchdown is a bit too much there. So I'm taking the Panthers. They're the funny pick. I think EJ Perry is only getting better, and with his second start, the Maulers offensively, there's not much more of an argument there to be made for them. They live and die by their defense and by their special teams, and I believe when it comes down to it, the Panthers receivers are probably going to make 1 or 2 more of the big plays down the field, and as long as Perry avoids what happened to both Josh Love and Carson Strong, which is the stupid interceptions and turnovers, because they only run 2 routes ever, and both of them are down the middle, and they just throw it into double, triple coverage all the time. As long as he avoids that, he can make plays with his feet. I think the Panthers have the more rhythmic and more productive offense. Both are good special teams units. Panthers get it done. I'm going to say 23-17. It's going to be a close one.
I'm glad you picked that, actually, because I am absolutely going with the Maulers. And here's the reason. EJ Perry, you obviously have much more confidence in this guy than I do. He kind of came out of nowhere after the carousel of quarterbacks we've seen for the Panthers this year. Thought Josh Love was going to be the guy to ride it out, but at least Mike Nolan in that game made the right decision. Of course, EJ Perry came in, and like you said, that was a catch-up game. I wouldn't say that EJ put the team on his back, but the team overall pulled it together and caught the Stars and eventually won the game. They shouldn't have. The Panthers have no business being in this playoff, but here they are because the Stars beat themselves, in my opinion. Yes, this is going to be a special teams battle versus a defensive battle. That's what it's going to be here. Of course, like we talked about, Frank Ginder, the linebacker, that is the best defensive piece on that team, and maybe the best linebacker in the USFL. Reuben Foster, like I said, and Rashad Smith are going to have something to say about that. But As far as running backs, they're still doing the 50-50 split. Trey Quinn is amazing. He's not going to catch a ton of passes because E.J. Perry is not throwing a ton of passes. And he's only making half of what he does throw. And that was evident with Trey Quinn only getting half of his targets were catchable passes. But he had that one huge catch that really worked out there. Hopefully he will lean on the tight ends. But over on the other side, Groshek and Madre Leonard are also both running the 50-50 backfield, and Mason Stoke, the fullback, is still one of the best wide receivers on the team for some odd reason, along with Isaiah Henney. I was going to say, Troy Williams overall is a better quarterback than E.J. Perry. As mobile as E.J. Perry is, Troy Williams is much, much more mobile, and the defense is just that much better than the Panthers defense. They're not going to put up a ton of points, but they will stop the Panthers from scoring. I'm looking at this to be like a 20-3, somewhere in the nature of that. 20-6 maybe.
Wow.
Being
wow.
lenient here.
You're not giving the Panthers a single touchdown.
No, I mean, look what happened last week. Let me bring it. The Generals. Generals look like they had everything back together, right? They looked like they were firing on all cylinders. DeAndre was back. They were good to go. And I thought at one point they were going to have to put Prokop in because DeAndre wasn't doing anything in that game. Like, they completely shut him down. This defense is that good, led by Reuben Foster and the other guys that actually made the special teams here, the all USFL team or whatever, or the superlatives, whatever you were reading off earlier. This defense is phenomenal. It really is. And the offense is not phenomenal, but it's good enough to keep up when you have a defense that's that good. I will be picking the Maulers here at home. I think we're going to see the Maulers versus Stallions in the championship.
Maulers and the Stallions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm not going to say that the Maulers shouldn't be favored. I think given the last few weeks, they should be favored, and they rightfully are favored by 3 points. But I'm going to say that the Panthers at their best are better than the Maulers at their best. And I think kind of sliding into these playoffs when no one gave them a shot, they probably didn't believe it themselves. I think it's going to give them a boost. I think they're going to rally behind the new quarterback. And I just saw, because the reason that I'm buying into this E.J. Perry thing, at least for one more game, is because I just saw the Luis Perez story, the unlikely story with the Renegades. And I saw the unlikely Brock Purdy story before that in the NFL. And I think this league's going to mirror that. I think once again we're going to have someone come out of completely left field that no one expected and lead a team to a lot of success. Mainly because, well, no one's really game planning for him, but also because maybe they just needed that chance in the right system. So as long as he doesn't lose games, because that's all the quarterbacks ask in that Panthers offense, is just don't lose the game. Don't throw it away to the other team. That's the only thing you need to do. Of course, easier said than done when you're playing the Maulers, because they lead the league in turnover percentage by a long shot. Their turnover percentage is +8. Next best team is +3. The Maulers Maulers are so dominant in turnovers that only 3 teams have a positive turnover percentage, because they win the turnover game against everyone. Mm-hmm. I think E.J. Perry is going to take care of one thing and one thing only, which is not to have that happen. And if there's an even turnover ratio in this game, the Panthers will make more offensive plays and they will get it done, because the Maulers aren't going to start every single drive from the 50 or on the positive side of the field. If they contain the return game, don't give the ball away, Panthers are going to get it done. Mm-hmm. That's my pick. But I expected you to take the Maulers.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought about something when you were saying that. There is also a Mr. Irrelevant on the Panthers here. It's not E.J. Perry, though. It happens to be Trey Quinn. I want to say that was 2017 or 18, somewhere in that area, when Trey Quinn was the last pick in the NFL draft.
That could be.
Yeah, maybe that's the one.
Historical parallels, huh?
Yeah.
Very possible. Very possible. Another thing that I do like here that the USFL is doing, I don't know if you've looked at this play of the year thing. They're trying to find the best play that happened this season, and they have it fan voted. So they have like a bracket of 16 plays, and they match them up one by one, and you get to vote. Now, of course, the whole thing has already been invalidated in my books completely because they already voted out the objectively best play of the season when Alex Magoo put away the Pittsburgh Maulers with that incredible scramble drill, which was the best play in certainly modern USFL history, maybe USFL history, but not respected to that degree for the MVP there. So to me, it got 46% of the votes, so that's out, which invalidates the competition to me, but still interesting to follow. I think they're looking at the last 8 now or something.
That's weird though that they're doing it as a tournament where they're putting play versus play to find the top tournament here. Yeah, you do.
It's interesting.
You do have some Stallions plays still in this though, obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, Deion Kane's 91-yard kickoff touchdown. That is losing.
Yeah.
No, it's winning. I'm sorry. Wait. Oh, it's winning to Matt Mingle's 83-yard punt. I remember that. That was pretty good.
I assumed that the 83-yard punt would be like a big deal. They made a really big deal out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Also, Aguilar's game-winning field goal. It's not winning right now. The Isaiah Henney toe tap touchdown is winning over it. Oh. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. I didn't even realize they were doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Though to me, it had to be the Alex Magoo play. That was incredible. Maybe because I saw it live, maybe because it was such a big moment where it had to happen. That was like the signature MVP moment, I think. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'm overrating the play, but to me, it was an incredible play that should absolutely have won this award, given the significance that it had for the way the season went. Yeah. I think that's what should happen. And with that, maybe Stallions Maulers would be an interesting championship game because you have the best offense versus probably the best defense.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be great. Also, the Stallions Breakers kind of feels like Alabama versus LSU right now, doesn't it?
Does it feel like Alabama, LSU, not Georgia?
Well, as of now.
Oh, because of the regions, you mean? Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, because of where they're from, yeah.
Traditionally, you know, as far as the SEC West, you're going to see Alabama and LSU go at it at some point in the year.
Yeah, cities don't match, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you want to look at East and West, yeah, it kind of does look like Alabama and Georgia here.
But the North certainly does not look like Michigan, Ohio State?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Big Ten. I mean, you could definitely have Michigan versus Pitt, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a match.
I think Michigan would win that one.
Usually. Most years. Yeah, definitely.
As they will in the USFL, too.
Yeah. Not every year. I mean, you got to think when Connor was there. The Pitt's had some good seasons.
They've had good seasons,
Kenny Pickett's seasons
Kenny
were
Pickett.
all fairly decent.
Yeah, that is true. Stallions win because Alabama beats LSU. And Michigan beats Pitt, so therefore the Panthers win. There you go. That's a good enough logic. The Panthers... What's the Panthers' home field? Is it Detroit?
Yeah, it's Detroit, yeah.
What did I share with? It's Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Because the Breakers play their home fields in Birmingham as well. Mm-hmm. So it's only a true home game for the Maulers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to be in Canton, which is not really a home game for the Maulers. I mean, they have to go out of state.
True. Yeah.
So really, only the Stallions have a home game.
Stallions have a home game, but it's less of a home game in a technical sense because it's also the Breakers home stadium. Yeah, this is a bit weird. It's a bit weird, this league. I hope that for next year they can expand to play in 8 stadiums, like the XFL did.
Yeah.
It'll just allow more like different fan cultures to build up. Like that's something the XFL did really well. With the St. Louis and the beer snake in DC and the Dragons.
Yeah.
So a lot of different things came out of that one. I think that is the next step for the USFL.
Yeah.
But first we have some playoff games.
When the Maulers pull the Renegades and go 4-6 and win the championship here. Obviously the championship is going to be in Protective Stadium in Birmingham, right? Do you know?
I assume so.
Yeah, I would think so. I haven't.
No. It's in Canton. It's in Canton.
Is it in Canton? Okay.
Parents
yeah, that's
Canton,
right.
yeah.
It was last year. Yeah.
No, last year was in Birmingham. No.
No, they went up to Canton for the championship. Yeah.
For the championship only, really?
Yeah.
They didn't play in Birmingham.
I'm
What
sure,
sense is that?
I'm pretty sure they went to the Hall of Fame for the championship game. They played every other game of the season in Birmingham.
Yeah, every game in the regular season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would you do that? Play in front of your biggest audience.
Yeah. So, the Maulers could technically be playing 2 home games here, even though they won't have home game advantage if they make it to the championship. But still, it's out of their state. So, it's very convoluted. But, yeah.
Well, technically, the Jets and the Giants play out of state home games, right?
That's true. Yeah, definitely. They play in New Jersey.
So, it happens.
Yeah.
But I'd say even if it's in Canton, there's going to be more Stallions fans than Maulers fans. That's my thing. Yeah.
I think, man, I've been seeing some Pittsburgh fans. Like, I know a lot of Steelers fans, and they hated the Maulers at first because they weren't winning.
Because they didn't win.
But now they're in the championship. They're starting to come around. Like, I'm seeing,
suddenly.
Not only because of the colors, but if they make it to the championship, there's going to be a lot of Pittsburgh fans behind the Maulers here.
For them, it's a big marketing thing for sure. There's a lot on the line there.
Yeah.
There's a fan base to gain. That's true. Maybe the same is true for the Panthers though, because they didn't have a single fan last year. They're one of the teams that
they need to
not a single fan.
They need to switch to blue. You know what they need? They need the Breakers color scheme. That's exactly
Panthers?
what they need. That way they can appease
the Lions?
the Lions and the Michigan fans.
I guess.
The dark blue and the light blue.
Yeah, it could be. Doesn't really fit.
We need a color scheme mix up here. The Breakers
really
need to go to gold and silver.
Yeah, Breakers need some gold and yellowish.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be very good. They could swap. They could swap uniforms. It'd be just about fine.
Yeah. The Stallions are fine with what color they have.
Stallions are good. Stallions are good. Maulers are now good, of course.
Yeah.
Stars, I'm not sure.
Showboats. I really don't know much about the Memphis college team in the first place, so I don't know what color they would really want to go with. They definitely, unless they want to go for Nashville, it's colors like the Titans or something, but the Breakers already have that also. Basically.
Well, it's close enough, I guess, with the dark blue.
Yeah.
But they have the original, you always have the original teams in mind as well, right? If you're looking at teams like the Stallions or the Showboats, they were in the original USFL, so might as well go with the original colors.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm. But if you want those NFL fans,
you gotta have the right colors.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care that much about color.
Harder to do though because USFL doesn't have the partnership with NFL like the XFL does.
Yeah.
The XFL could probably pull that off much easier.
Maybe.
However,
even though they're not doing it at all.
Yeah. However, the Maulers were able to do that, considering every single team in the city have the same colors. So
seems to have paid off for them.
Yeah.
They've gotten a lot more successful with it.
Absolutely.
I guess. Do you want to do power rankings, or is that redundant this week?
Yeah, I guess we can. Last one of the season, right?
Let's do it. Sure. I'll let you go.
Yeah, I need to pull up RJ Young's, see what he's got to say this week also. But I'll start off with mine. The Generals fall to number 8. They've been there and they've bounced out of number 8 off and on throughout the season, but here they are. They finished the season at number 8. The Stars, you totally blew it. You're coming in at number 7. Maybe next year will be better if you can fortify that offensive line a little bit. The team is still decent. They still have a lot of potential, but they're just not showing it right now. The Gamblers, same thing. This is pretty much where you finished last season. Enjoy that. The Showboats, you had promise at one point in time. Some people put you at number 1. Here you are at number 5 at this point in time. And since these 4 made the playoffs, I have to put them 1 through 4. Start off with the Panthers. They probably should have actually been lower on this, probably around 6 somewhere. The Showboats could probably beat the Panthers at this point in time, but they made the playoffs, so I will give them the benefit of the doubt. Maulers, I put them at number 3. The defense is just that good in my opinion. I feel like they are a top 3 team in this league right now. Breakers at number 2, Stallions at number 1, of course. What do you say?
So I can agree with the first 2, of course. Stallions are 1, Breakers are 2. There's 2 philosophies here, right? You can say you're the playoff teams and the non-playoff teams, and by that logic, it would have to be Pittsburgh and Michigan, maybe in that order, 3 and 4. And then Memphis, Houston, and then of course the Stars and the Generals. But I'm not going to go with this approach. I know most people would, and it makes sense because of playoffs and whatnot. I'm going to go with, again, like, would you take this team to win that team approach? Doesn't really roll off the tongue nicely, but that's how I tend to do power rankings. If we had the Panthers play the Gamblers or the Showboats this week, who would I pick? I would not pick the Panthers. Same is true for the Maulers. So, therefore, my power rankings still, even though they both didn't make the playoffs, Stallions, the Breakers, Gamblers at 3, Showboats at 4, because the North is simply still, like, they're not that strong. I'd pick every single team in the North to lose to every single team in the South if they played this week. Maulers at 4, even though I think they'll lose to the Panthers, but they're coming off of a win streak, minus losing to the Gamblers, as mentioned before, in like week 8, I believe. I'll take them at 4. Panthers still gonna win. Stars 7, Generals 8. I'm not even confident about putting the Stars at 7, though they did lose a close game. Any given time, I believe they could beat any other team in the North easily, the Maulers, the Panthers included. Generals at last spot is the only thing I'm comfortable with, as well as 1 and 2. Other than that, the 5 in the middle, you can scramble however you like them, more or less. Whether you value the playoffs or the direct matchup, I'm gonna go direct matchup for my power rankings. So the entire South and the entire North.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't change much, actually. I think the Maulers could beat the Showboats and the Gamblers at this point in time, and obviously
but would you pick them?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I really have faith in the Maulers at this point in time. I think the defense is that good. Like I said, I wouldn't pick their offense to be better than the Showboats or the Gamblers, but their defense is that good. Like, this is probably the best defense I've ever seen in a spring league team. Like, they are that good, in my opinion. We'll find out after this week, though, if they can match up. And if they make it to the championship, that's it. I'm crowning them the best defense in all of the spring league since we've been covering it, since 2019.
That is until they get 35 put on them by a certain MVP.
We'll find out
in the championship.
Yeah. You might see Alex McGough struggling to put 10 up in there.
Yeah, right. Sure. We can bet on that right now if you want.
Yeah.
I'll take 10 cans.
10 cans on 10 points.
10 cans on more than 10 points, no matter who they play.
That's tough, man. I don't know.
You can think about it next week. If the Maulers put up another single-digit defensive performance, maybe you'll encourage to do it. I'm sticking with my quarterback, no matter how good the Maulers are.
If they pull another blowout all on the back of the defense, and the Panthers put up, 3 to 6 points somewhere in the range, yeah, I'll make that bet with y'all.
Yeah,
maybe
I won't
maybe 12 or something. I don't know. Well, I'll think about it.
We're under 12, yeah. We'll have one. We'll have one there. We'll figure it out.
But let's look at RJ Young's power rankings, the last ones of the season. And the title of it this week is USFL Week 10 Power Rankings, familiar face on top as the regular season ends. He actually almost agreed with me exactly. He's got the Generals at number 8, the Stars at number 7. He flip-flopped these two. He's got the Showboats at number 6 and the Gamblers at number 5. And he went with my philosophy of the playoff teams have to be on top, right? The Panthers at number 4, the Maulers at number 3, the Breakers at number 2, and the Stallions at number 1. So pretty much mine exactly, except for 5 and 6 were switched.
Yeah. That's potato, I guess.
Yeah.
No, that is fair rankings, of course. If you want to value the playoffs first, I can't disagree with it. I wouldn't do it that way. I tend to not do it that way. But I cannot disagree with it either. Gamblers and Boats, both slow ends to the season. Considering they're both 5 and 3, like this entire division was 5 and 3 or 6 and 2.
Yeah.
Not a single losing record and not a single winning record in the North. It's somehow even more of a gap between the divisions than we saw in the XFL, which I hardly believe possible.
Man, and I wanted to buy into Todd Haley in the middle of the season.
Well, yeah. The thing is, they win in the North. If they happen to be in a different division, they're in the playoff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we would see Showboats versus Maulers right now.
Exactly. They have a good roster though. I think they have the quarterback of the future as well. They have a good roster. It's been their first season. I think they can build around it. I think the Showboats are going to be all right going forward.
Yeah, they should be.
Worry.
Another season down. Get it together. Stop taking those blowout losses so that the tiebreakers could go in your favor at the end of the season. Not like it mattered because they lost anyway to the Stallions, but if they would have won that game, they would have still missed the playoffs because of that point deficit, which really sucks for them. Skip Holtz stuck it to them this week, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, had to.
Yeah.
The 1 seed was still on the line.
Yeah, I mean, he could have taken it easy and ran the risk of having to play them 2 weeks in a row. Personally, I would have rather played the Showboats. If I was the Stallions, I would have rather played the Showboats twice in a row than have to go against this Breakers team that any week can put up tons of points. Now, sometimes they struggle, but sometimes they will throw 30, 40 points out there. So I would have rather taken on the Showboats again. I think I would have just sat back and let them have it. But Skip Holtz wanted to save that integrity, and he left all of his starters out there the entire game.
And you're also relying on the Gamblers to win for that. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
True.
Suddenly, the Breakers win and you lose. And then you play, I was about to say in New Orleans. No, you're still playing Birmingham. But you play with technically the Breakers having home field advantage.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's some difference with like ticket rights to ticket sales or something. I don't know.
Don't get the locker room you wanted.
I guess, you have to use the visitors' locker room technically. Yeah.
We gotta go to the other side of the stadium today, guys.
Yeah, that would be it. I don't know if there's ticket sale differences. If the fan base actually would be more leaning towards the home team, the nominal home team.
Hey, if it's like some of the college stadiums, which I know Protective Stadium, I think UAB plays there, if I remember correctly. But some of the visitor teams that won't even have air conditioning. Like, they will make it as miserable as possible on visiting teams.
For sure. Oh, yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Just bare minimum standards.
So you probably want the home advantage as far as your locker room.
You want the home advantage. You can wear your jerseys, you get the locker room, the facilities, yeah. I agree. And it's also just a pride, right? You've won the division, you got to go win it again. Just defend the crown.
True. Absolutely.
Champions of the South. So that's our picks. We both have the Stallions. We disagree on the North. I have the Panthers, and you have the Maulers.
Yes.
Let's see how it goes. Anyone watching, please let us know your picks in the comments for this one. Who do you agree with? Is there anyone that's taking the Breakers? By the way, I want to know, because it's not like a ridiculous pick or anything. They've been very, very good, and they come in off of a strong win streak as well. Anyone that wants the Breakers, let me know in the comments as well. And if you're making any of these bets, Maulers favored by 3, Stallions favored by 3, two very close games. If anyone's, I'm not betting any of this because it's too iffy for me, especially in the playoffs. It's very difficult to do, so I'm not touching these ones. But if anyone wants to do that, let me know what you are taking and what your reason for that is. Smokey, do you have anything to add for this week?
I think that's it for this week.
Perfect, and we will see you in the next one.
Doses.
Check the scoreboard. Ha. Check.